Evening, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Yo, yo, yo.
Testosterone is what makes a man a man. But if you're eating foods that raise your estrogen, you're never going to.
Good evening and welcome to coverage of the Vintage Racer Group's Virtual Racer League. Tonight we bring you the Airfield Classic from New Jersey Motorsports Park. Once again, the league will be in the USF 2000. We're currently in practice and we'll soon roll into a 15-minute 3-lap solo qualifying session, and this will be followed up by 2 20-minute sprint races. The first race based on the results of qualifying. The second race based on the results of the finish of the first race with the top 5 positions inverted. Board now with Ralph Salomon from New York. Those of you who are watching the media today may have seen that there are some issues with internet connectivity in the Northeast. Glad to see that Ralph was able to join. Apparently a major internet hub was cut in the New York area. Currently leading the time charts at a 1:17.373. And as usual, cameraman strikes again, Jason Wisman off track. With Rob Hines. Rob Hines now setting the pace at a 1:16.821. Welcome again to the Vintage Racer Group's coverage of the Virtual Racer League. My name is Jim Karamanis, bringing you tonight's live action. We are in practice now. We'll let you watch practice for a little while here, and we'll be back with more commentary.
are you, Jim?
Good. Welcome to the broadcast.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. On board now with Bob Lang.
Yep. If you get a minute, could you share a link, share a stream with me?
Absolutely. Hopefully you can see what I'm seeing now.
Yep, Bob Lang. Yeah, so I got my first taste of this track last season. I think it was my first race when I broadcast with you guys. And this past week, I got on the track for the first time in the practice session. It's not a bad track. It's never used, probably because it's a tech track, but I enjoyed it.
It's pretty close to home for you, huh?
Yeah, just a few hours. I'm North Jersey, so like my closest track would be like Lime Rock or something like that. But this is way down South Jersey.
Right.
But New Jersey's not that big, so so being on the other end of New Jersey's not saying a lot.
Well, it's a shame iRacing hasn't finished this track yet. It's actually a super fun track to drive. It's a little unusual being out there without any reference points, and because they haven't drawn in the buildings, the few trees that are there, the fencing, it can be a little confusing.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing I noticed was just nothing to gauge where I was. It's just grass and asphalt, and I think once or twice there's a few numbers on the side of the track to help you out, or like where we're looking here, Ian here on the right, there's like a couple dots where I guess there's some sort of shack, maybe a spotter stand or something. I was trying to use those dots, but it's not very defined.
No, it's not. It's a pretty flat track even in real life, though. It can take a little time to get up to speed.
Yeah, I thought it's kind of a beginner's track, I'd say. I mean, lots of runoff everywhere, like no damage, no danger of hitting walls and things like that, which I thought was nice. But I think it'd be fun. I mean, that turn 2 looks pretty cool. Like, to do that in real life up over that hill, it looks blind and fast. But yeah, I think it'd be something that'd be enjoyable to do in real life.
Yeah, my first time ever driving at this track was in the rain. And yeah, turn 2 is pretty exciting when it's wet and you don't know which way it goes.
Yeah, I bet. Did you keep it on the black stuff, or did you end up in the grass?
I did manage to keep it on track. Lots of throttle steer. It was great. Yeah, so VRG used to race here. We'd love to go back sometime. We miss it dearly. It's one of those tracks that's a little baffling because it's right in the center of our membership, but yet we've always had a hard time getting enough participants to come out to pay the bills. And if you don't have enough people come out to pay the bills, you can't keep going to the track. Hopefully we'll get to try it again sometime.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, like, in different kinds of racing I've been a part of, you never know. It could just be a scheduling conflict, just a bad weekend, or some people don't want to go out in the middle of July when it's hot, or you never know what that reason is. But like you said, it's right in the middle. You'd think people would show up.
No, it's very true. The last couple events we were there were in the summer. It was quite hot, and before that we had several years just a week apart from Labor Day, and of course Labor Day weekend there's so many options. It's very difficult to compete with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe if we get a better date, we'd be willing to try it again. I know all the drivers that race there really enjoyed racing the track, and the other track at New Jersey Motorsports Park, Lightning, is also quite fun.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. I noticed I'm looking at the track info, and there's no designation for which circuit we're on, and I think there's probably several, right? I mean, they have go-kart tracks, and big tracks, little tracks, so they probably have a lot of options. I guess this is the only one we have access to.
Yeah, so there's 2 major tracks there, plus a go-kart track. This track is called the Thunderbolt, and this is the track that IMSA used for a while. So Daytona prototypes running around here, which is a little nuts because it's not a terribly large track. That must have been really exciting to watch. Lightning is its sister track, and originally when the facility was designed, the plan was to connect the 2 tracks together and create a super track, but never happened. I don't know if it was a funding thing or what, but the facility is fantastic. Terrific clubhouse. The people are great to work with. Beautiful part of the state. Then they seem to be doing well with a lot of other events. So, the SCCA has been pretty successful there. as has NASCAR with some of their smaller series. So.
Yeah, I remember when the track came out, there was a lot of excitement in the area about it, and I don't hear much about it anymore. But there were NASCAR, or at least lesser NASCAR series events at the track back then.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys ever head back, you let me know. I'll be the first one there waiting for you.
Absolutely. Well, we've seen Chase Kurt off track. Kurt Isbay lives in New York. We've been a little concerned today whether our New York members would be able to join because of the internet problems up there, but so we've got several New York members online here. We actually took advantage of iRacing offering multiple server locations, and we went with a West Coast server today just in case. So far so good.
Yeah, I never really noticed much in terms of servers being an issue. I mean, unless we pick like Australia or something like that, where you'll start having more netcode issues, I think. But other than that, usually, like you said, just stay away from New York at the moment, but California will be fine.
On board with Darren Kriegel. I spoke to Darren earlier today. He said he was keeping to his usual open wheel flair, and the last time he drove the car was the last race, and I guess about 10 minutes ago was the first time he's jumped in it on this track.
Yeah, he'll find the pace quickly. He always seems to. I mean, I think that's a skill he has, and it's hard to do when there's a little bit of pressure on because the clock's winding down.
Oh, of course, as soon as you say that, he hits the walls. Perfect timing.
Yeah.
I hope he sees that on the broadcast.
But I mean, Stefan seems to have a little bit up on everybody, but Darren's right there in a cluster of cars on the timing sheet, so he's not a slouch.
Yeah, Mike Kelly putting in a quick time. Rob Hines, all very close. Ian Wisbon, pretty close. Dave Curtis. Ooh, we've got a lot of cars in the low 16s. It should be an interesting race tonight.
It was interesting, the practice for myself. I never saw the track before, except for the time that we broadcast. So learning the track was interesting, where a lot of the circuits, in iRacing, when I jump on them, I either know them from Formula One or NASCAR or just sports cars. I've seen the track and kind of have an idea where it goes, where this track was just totally blind, and it was fun. It reminded me back when I was karting, and you go to a new track that never seen before, and you just got to figure it out as fast as you can.
Yeah, that can be a lot of fun. Looks like Stefan's changed his livery up a little bit this week.
Yeah, he's still sporting the familiar yellow and blue. I think he was playing a little bit with Photoshop. He did the Daytona car for us that we ran Daytona this past weekend. So I think he's probably putting some of his skills to use here.
Yeah, I see that. So how are you feeling after the expedition to Daytona?
So I enjoyed it. We did the race. It was 4 of us. The last 24-hour event I did was 3 drivers, and not gonna lie, that was pretty miserable. And the drive time between 3 and 4 is really, 6 hours or 4 hours if you split it up evenly. But for me, when I did the 3 drivers at 8 hours apiece, it was tough because the break in between the drives wasn't long enough to really get a good rest in or anything like that. Where here we had a pretty significant gap, so that made it a lot easier. And many of the members of our group here chipped in with spotting and crew chiefing, and that takes a huge load off. When the drivers are needed to do all that stuff, it just makes it that much harder.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I was really glad to take part in it. I certainly learned a lot. Can't wait for the next one. We've talked about opening up the opportunity to some of our other VRL members for one of the Enduros that's coming up later this year, so more to come on that.
Yeah, I'm really hoping some of the guys take advantage of it. Maybe we can get 2 or 3 cars in the events and spread the drive time around. I think our drivers would enjoy it's just a different type of race. A lot of the series racing, which is like sprint racing. I mean, even a half-hour race, it's fast. You got to get after it. You can't afford to lose any time. But an endurance race is a little bit different. You got to pick your battles and play the long game. and I think the guys who were part of our series would actually do well at that.
Yeah, it actually lends itself well to the vintage attitude. It's not necessarily about putting the fastest lap times, but it's about being consistent, keeping the car on track, keeping the car going. Makes all the difference.
Yeah, I mean, I bet you it was probably my second stint when I looked around, and every car I passed had, like, I don't want to say significant damage, but it hit a few things.
Yeah.
And it was just, race was only a third over, and it's like, here everybody is with a beat up car because we were all so excited to get going. But I think if you can manage yourself to keep the car straight and keep the speed in the car, number one, you can really probably charge that second half, those last 12 hours of the race, and make up a lot of time that you gave up just being conservative.
I think the delayed start probably had something to do with it as well.
Yeah.
Those of you that don't know, iRacing had such a overwhelming number of participants this time that it actually blew up their infrastructure, and they had to make changes on the fly. It took them a few hours to work it out, and they did, but that ended up being about a 4-hour delay, so people had a really, really long time, and it's already a 24-hour race. Put another 4 hours on top of that, and all the excitement of waiting.
I tell you though, even after that time, we had to re-register, and you still had 45 splits, which meant there were 45 independent 24-hour races going on, with 55 cars each, with multiple drivers per team. So I mean, there were thousands of people taking part in this, and I'm really happy that they stuck with it and got us a race in. I'm fortunate, I guess, that they were able to get their hardware issues under control or whatever it was, but it's great that they can do stuff like that. And I mean, if you look at, like, I remember our race, I mean, there's literally people from every corner of the globe in that race.
Yeah.
And that just blows my mind that can happen.
Yeah, and the fact that they can have basically 15,000 participants racing in 24-hour races at the same time is pretty unbelievable. Yeah.
But I mean, like, even our team, 4 drivers on track, but we had 4 separate guys spotting and crew chiefing. So I mean, it's a huge effort for each car just to get out there.
And of course, everyone in a separate location.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, I know some of the veterans of iRacing get a little sick of hearing about the little issues that happen here and there, but I still think it's incredible. I mean, I looked at it like a rain delay at a real race.
Right.
Some things you just can't control, and as a driver, you just, you let it happen.
Yeah, you gotta roll with it. Well, they did a good job of figuring it out.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, zero issues after that.
Yeah, the race went flawlessly. Well, Derek Treacle's jumped up to the top.
I see that. By quite a bit, too.
Yeah, this is one of the tracks that he races regularly as part of the Mars SCCA series in real life.
Okay.
I believe he does some national races at this track as well. So he's got a lot of laps here.
Yeah, I mean, he typically drives cars with doors on them, so he's probably very familiar with the curbs and things like that. But in my experience from Thursday, you cannot drive this car on the curb at all. It gets very easily high-sided. And either you skip across it and end up in the grass, or you just drag the bottom and go really slow on it,
Yeah, and it's easy. If you go off track and you lose momentum, you can get beached.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was VIR we were at. If you stopped the car too close to the side of the track where there was a little bit of a crown, that was it. Car stuck, not moving.
Well, that wraps up practice. Now we will jump into 3-lap individual qualifying. Mike Kelly, well, it looked like he was going to be the first one on track. I think he may have gotten a stop-and-go penalty there. There he goes again.
Yeah, sometimes you get so focused on your lap, you forget the little things.
Series leader, Stefan Vappa. Let's see what he can do here in qualifying.
Yeah, I think Stefan probably has more experience than any of us in this car. He's helping some guys out on Monday nights.
Yeah.
Get around in the cars and the tracks. And but I was going to say, I don't notice much difference in the tires throughout a run. Maybe a little bit faster those first few laps, but it kind of stabilizes. but not a lot changes dynamically with the car after that.
Yeah, and cold tires doesn't seem to be that much of an issue in this car either.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that with the speed and the downforce, the car drives pretty nice. The low speed corners are a bit hairy, just because there's no stick to the car. I feel like it just wants to slide.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't seem to get any better with tire temperature or tire wear. It's just not great either way. And it just, if it didn't have that aspect, the car would just be super easy to drive, which might make it a little boring. So it's probably a good thing that it's there.
Yeah, it's a little tricky because there's not a lot of grip at low speed. There's incredible aero grip at high speed, and there's not a lot of horsepower.
Yeah.
It makes the car pretty tricky.
That corner there, he just went through that kink. If you can get it, you can do it flat fairly easily. But if you're racing somebody and you're side by side, I expect you have to slow down quite a bit to try to go through there side by side. So that's something to keep note of if you're trying to battle and make a pass coming out of turn 2.
And it's a good example of high speed in this car. You can do some things that are incredible. When we raced GT3 here, there was no way you could take that corner flat out.
Yeah. And then this corner here is kind of miserable when you're slow, and there's no downforce, and you want to get on the gas in between these two corners, and the back just wants to go around. Just even going around this left-hander here was tough.
It's just as tough in the real world.
Yeah.
It's a very frustrating complex. It can also be confusing. I've never driven here at night, but apparently they've done some night enduros, and when you're on the track, suddenly you have headlights in your face.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, it was probably that part in the backstretch we were just watching Stefan. I mean, there's probably just headlights going every different direction because the track kind of switches back over on itself. Stefan with the early top time, he's very close to his practice time. Not surprising. He seems to have that ability to step the car up in qualifying.
Yeah, Mike Kelly jumping right where he was in practice as well. Oh, Ian Wisbin jumping up to second place. Quick lap.
Yeah, and in the practice races, Ian Wisman was all over me. I could never shake him.
Well, I feel bad. I was a little under the weather last week, so Ian had to jump back into the booth. So he lost a race, series points-wise, but maybe he can sneak a win out here, make up for it. Ian had a win a couple seasons ago when we ran the Skip Barber.
Yeah, our races tend to, while there's a couple guys who are always at the front, we do have a couple races a season where it's like just unpredictable.
Well, we're kind of due for one. I think Stefan's won every race this season, hasn't he?
If he hasn't, he's not been much far off it. He's first or second, right? I also think the nature of these new races we're doing with the slight invert in the front and the two shorter races, there's definitely opportunity for unexpected things to happen.
Well, so race 1 is gridded by these qualifying times, but race 2 is gridded based on the finishing results of race 1 with the top 5 positions inverted. So that can make things pretty interesting.
See, Darren jumps up to number 2. Wow, super fast times by Darren and Stefan.
Just a 10th off of Stefan.
Yeah, Stefan's 4/10 faster than he went in practice. I imagine they all went out pretty early, so they're all probably on their third lap, which is all that's going to count for right now.
Basically, they get 15 minutes to get 3 laps in. But I think you'll see a lot of the cars stay on track even after they've got their 3 qualifying laps, just to get a little bit more practice in. Except for Dave Curtis, who looks like he's
He's had enough.
he's gonna go have maybe a little cocktail before the race.
Yeah, if I'm a little green on a track or car, I will stay out for the full amount until they kick me off. I mean, it's nice too because the track conditions will be the same, or it won't change much between the end of qualifying and the beginning of the race.
Sounded like Stefan caught some air there. Oh no, this is Jim Graziano. I tend to get their two liveries mixed up a little bit. That might explain why Stefan made some changes this week, actually.
Yeah, the same shade of blue and yellow as well. But when we were in the practice race, the second race, I crashed in the first turn because I was like, I really want to catch Stefan. It wasn't Stefan. It was Jim in front of me. and then when I spun out, I watched Stefan go by. I'm like, well, who was I chasing? Why did I drive so hard?
Jim's putting in some quick times. He's in the top 5 right now.
Yeah, I mean, any of these guys who are able to dip into the 116s definitely knows their way around this place.
Don LeBayer, always quick in these open wheel cars. Qualified 6.
Yeah, Don's been doing great. He definitely has raw speed. I think he needs to work a little bit on translating it into long distance pace. Usually when we're in the practices, he's got a time towards the top and he can qualify towards the top. Doesn't always translate in the race for him. So I think if he could just work on his consistency a little bit, he'd really be a threat for wins.
I think for Don, it's also a matter of he's a little older than most of the other drivers out there, and I think he gets tired of sitting in one place for a long time.
Yeah,
right. He's quite quick in practice and qualifying.
Yeah.
Always shows good pace. And he's a lot of help to his fellow racers as well. Spends a lot of time working on setups in the series when we don't use fixed setups. Mike Kelly just loves wrecking these cars. I think testing out the accident models is really high on his priority list. Look at that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think he figured something out. He's got active suspension.
It looks like Carlos Bonds has joined the session. And let's see if he's going to try to put a qualifying lap in or if he's just going to start last.
He is going around track. Yeah, he has an invalidated first lap, so he's on a second lap. See if this one goes in.
Yeah, he's got plenty of time.
Oh, that one's not going to count.
He does know this track quite well. He's raced here quite a bit, at least iRacing-wise.
Okay.
Always branding the entertaining livery is Carlos.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed he didn't get any practice times in either, so he must be just joining.
Yeah, maybe he's like Darren and has to get that taco before he jumps in the car.
Well, you're not going to be able to race well if you're hungry.
Well, that's one of the differences between sim racing and real racing. Real racing, you don't eat anything before you jump in the car because you get moved around so much by the G-forces.
Yeah.
It would not be a good thing. But yeah, with a sim. When we were racing at Daytona Sunday morning, I was sipping coffee on the banking. It was great.
Yeah, my endurance race treat is usually sliced apples. Pop them in on a straightaway, just munch away. Feel a little bit bad for the spotter, but yeah. nobody complained.
When I was doing that, we were over 100 laps down, so I wasn't too worried.
Well, I mean, there's no reason to not make yourself comfortable, you know?
Hey, if you can have your Sunday morning coffee and be in a race car at the same time, does it get any better than that? That's a good day. All right, let's see if Carlos can get a clean one in here. part of the track, the cars always look slow, but I assure you the drivers are pushing. It's just the limits of the car are just met at such a low speed because these corners are so tight.
I mean, even only at the slowest point there, it looks like he's still going over 50 miles an hour.
All right, well, he gets a time on the board, jumps up to 15th. I think he's got one more lap here. See if he can improve. He's got time to get it done. Little drift coming over the hill there. That'll slow him down a little bit. Fast and the Furious looks great, but it's never good for lap times.
Yeah, just before those corners, that hill, I noticed the car would drag just going up the hill, and the car would slow down a tiny bit. Yeah, I tried to find a smoother part of the track, the surface there, but it just does it everywhere.
It's not there, yeah, and that's a deceptive part of the track because you really have to keep your foot in it through that corner.
Yeah. Yeah, I think when I was learning the track, I found the most speed there because, you know, just mentally I'm looking at it, I'm going, well, there's a right-hander at the end of the straightaway, and I'm going super fast. I have to slow down.
Yeah.
But the more I did it, I was like, you know, I'm just giving a little bit of a lift to get into this right-hander and carrying tons of speed in that little short shoot before the U-turn that's on the left.
So apparently my mic is very low. Thanks, Christian, for letting me know. Hopefully that's a little louder now. Thanks for the comment, Chris. Hope to see you back in the car again soon.
Yeah, it's been quite a few weeks.
Yeah, he went on vacation and maybe he's still hungover because we haven't seen him back for a while. A little too much fun.
Oh, maybe he's practicing for the next endurance race. Yeah, it looks like top half of the field's pretty close. I mean, I can't remember any other race we've ever had where qualifying's been this close, so should show well in the race.
Yeah, this is the closest Darren has been to Stefan in a while. And it looks like Carlos has given up. Yeah, I think that puts a wrap on qualifying. Yeah, we got about a minute till race 1. Again, this is Jim Karamanis with a VRG, joined by Steve Ficacci in the booth, bringing you Season 6, our Open Wheel Sprint Series. This is the Airfield Classic from New Jersey Motorsports Park. This is the Thunderbolt circuit.
And if we haven't talked about it, this is a tech track, which means that it's not quite finished by iRacing. So that's why some of the things you see in the distance aren't quite as pretty as the other tracks we go to. What that is, that's actually the dot matrix that they draw when they go to laser scan the tracks.
Yeah, so the track itself is extremely accurate, but it's everything else around the track that it's not. You can see the bridge there. Well, part of the Subaru sign is there, but there's a lot missing. It makes that turn a little less scary, though, I must say.
You're not going to smash it to the side of a wall like Wile E. Coyote?
There we go. We have our official grid. Stefan Vappa on pole. Second, Darren Treacle. Third, Ian Wisbin. Fourth, Dave Curtis. Fifth, Jim Graziano. Sixth, Don LeBayer. Seventh, Mike Kelly. Eighth, Rob Hines. Ninth, John Wood. 10th, John Clerk. 11th, Bob Lang. 12th, Kurt Uzbey. 13th, Mac McCormick. 14th, Matthew Barber. 15th, Carlos Bonds. 16th, Eric Russell. And 17th, Ralph Salomon. 17 cars. That's a good turnout this week.
Yeah, it looks surprised to see so many cars here. I didn't feel like the practice had a ton of guys in it, so usually that kind of means we're not going to get a ton of guys.
And we're green, green, green. Standing starts. Stefan and Darren both make excellent starts. Ian Wisman with a great start. Looks like Dave Curtis may have gone off track. Back there with Don LeBayer.
Yeah, they were
Oh,
actually side by
like
side through turn 1.
Kurt Osbey going around. And Stefan very quickly pulling away.
Yeah, it's like Kurt lost it by himself. Maybe just a little too much throttle up over that hill as the car gets light.
Easy to do on cold tires. Oh, it looks like we just lost Eric Russell. See if we can find out what happened to him. Ah, just a little spin. Oh, looks like Ian's lost some time.
Yeah, it's hard to keep up with those guys. I've tried. As you said, Stefan probably won every race this season. It's he sets a high standard.
He does. Darren seems to be sucking him in a little bit here, though.
Yeah, I noticed at where were we last? Summit Point, in the twisty sections, in the back half of the lap, you really lose a lot of aero up the front of the car. It makes it very hard to follow close and capitalize on the long straightaways because you just can't stay that close. And this circuit and the sections they're about to come up on with the right-hander, that kind of, I don't even know what it's called, but it kind of reminds me of like getting flushed down a toilet, but where you're just kind of slower and it's long and it's right and it just keeps going and gets tighter. And I mean, I imagine it's probably miserable for Darren right now trying to follow Stefan closely. You know, you could really use all the front end you could get, and it's all being taken away by the car in front of you.
Sort of like watching F1.
Yeah.
These two starting to pull away from Wisbin now, but
They're already in the 115s.
wow.
Seems to be a bit faster than anyone else seems to be able to go.
That's about as quick as Stefan went in practice for qualifying. He's pushing hard. He knows better than to give Darren any kind of opening.
Yeah, he's going to push especially hard, try to break that draft, because if Darren can stay close on the stretch, on the straightaways, he'll just be able to kind of sit back and relax and get towed around. But I do think if Stefan can break the draft, he probably will put a little distance on him.
Looks like Bob Lang had an incident. Let's see if we can find out what happened. Matthew Barber making a move on Bob. Oh, they touched just a little bit. Oh! Yeah,
Oh boy, he's got wheels pointing in the wrong directions.
Yeah, that was tough.
It looked like it was going to be a harmless bump.
Well, it looked like Matt Barber had some damage too, but that may have been a bit of net code because, yeah, he seems to be okay. Actually, that wasn't Matt, was it?
No.
Mike Kelly's moved up to 4th. Up 3 positions. Matt Barber up to 9th, up 5 positions. Ralph Salomon up 4 positions. Mac McCormick down 1 position. Mac just upgraded his gear this week. Now sporting a new Fanatec wheel. He's got VR.
Oh, great. Every little bit helps.
These two are...
Yeah, I really like the VR. I think it helps, especially when you're trying to learn a new track. Just gives you the depth perception that you don't get on a monitor.
Well, Mac was telling me this morning that the depth perception is making a major change for him. He really likes it. And the track looks so much wider. It's easier to place the car.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people, when they jump into iRacing, they make many mistakes with the monitor size and the field of view and things like that. You don't get those options in VR. It just works. It's set up, I guess, I don't know, I want to say from the factory, but just iRacing gives it the data that it needs, and it's always perfect. Something I noticed on monitors was when I try to learn a new track, like, you know, if you saw a corner, you'd kind of just pick a place to start braking, and then, you know, you'd work from there. But like, you could be miles off. Where with the VR, it's very intuitive. It's like driving a car. You know, you don't guess where that stop sign is. You know, you just stop at it.
Right.
You know, without thought.
Dave Curtis working on Mike Kelly. Closest battle on track at the moment. Oh, both drivers with an issue. Rob Hines takes advantage and gets by them.
Maybe there's some oil on the track.
Stefan and Darren still under a second apart.
Yeah, Darren had gotten real close about 2 laps ago, and then went a little bit wide on a corner and had to back off. He was on the curb and dangerously close to the grass, and he lost a little bit. But it seems like he caught back up to Stefan just a bit. Yeah, so I think up until about this point, you're able to draft and get closer, and then after you make this right-hander, you know, just you're going to lose the front end, and you're going to struggle a bit being close to that car. I mean, I see Darren taking the tight line. It might be just the opportunity to get some fresh air on those front wings.
Seems to be making that inside line work.
Yeah, that's the line I've been taking, or at least I took in practice. Seemed to work, but it's hard to go against Stefan's experience. You know, he seems to be fast in this car, so just different ways to get to the same place, I guess.
Less than a half second apart now.
Yeah, if he can get a good run off of here, it's a long stretch with this kink. I mean, he can really make up some time.
Stefan seemed to pull out a 10th.
Yeah, seems about as close as he's been.
Half second at the moment.
Now he's close. I mean, now here you're flat till turn 1. See maybe if he can catch a draft that'll get him up there.
This is the closest he's been.
You got to be careful on that turn 2 exit. A little too much of that curb, and the car will get high side and just keep on skipping to the left.
I think that arrow wash starting to show its truth here. Seems like every time Darren gets close enough, just not able to stick with him.
So right about here, I think Darren needs to get on the gas just a teeny bit earlier and take a wider line into this. I mean, he's making this work. Maybe it's by choice just to try to get some clean air, but Stefan being wide, I think that's allowing Darren to, get some fresh air on that wing, and still make that turn. I think if they were in the same line, it would be a lot tougher for Darren to do what he's doing in there. But he's close. He's got to watch too. The longer he stays behind Stefan, the front tire's going to heat up, and he's going to lose front grip that way as well.
Stefan's awfully quick through this section. Some of the best passing opportunities on the track are right here.
We got lap traffic coming up.
Yeah, they're coming up in Ralph Salomon. Ralph lost a few positions. Oh, Darren's got a good run on him.
Yeah, he's all over Stefan. It'd be wise to stay as close as he can when they catch the lap traffic. Maybe there might be an opportunity there. It's very hard this circuit to pass lap cars. It's just a lot of left and right, and the cars are the racing line just goes from left. Takes up the whole road. Oh boy.
Oh, and Ralph's off. Just a few minutes left in this 15-minute sprint race.
Here's a final lap, isn't it? We're 10-lap race. We're on lap 10.
I believe you're correct.
They both went a little bit high, but I bet you Stefan lost a little bit of speed on the curb there. They're always close. Best move is he should have shot it in there and stayed to the left. Jammed it up the inside. He's going to try.
Oh.
Little tire spin exit in the corner.
Yeah, little tire spin. I think Stefan's home free now.
Well, more lap traffic. Darren's still pushing. I mean, he's right there.
Coming up on Eric Russell.
We're going to get a bit of a reversal in the second grid here, so depending on how the start goes, we may see the opposite next race.
I think either one of these guys is going to have a very tough time passing the other. You look at their fast lap times, they're almost identical.
Yeah.
Just a couple thousandths of a second apart. And indeed, Stefan Vaba takes race one. Darren Treacle, second position. Ian Wisbin holds on for the podium. Well done, Ian. Mike Kelly's going to take fourth position. Dave Curtis a little bit back, but it looks like he's going to grab fifth. Jim Graziano, sixth. Matthew Barber, seventh. Look how close all these guys are. Look at that. John Clerk, eighth. John Wood, ninth. Don LeBire, 10th. Wow, this was a close race. Rob Hines was up in the top five at one point. Oh! Having some fun with his good friend Mike Kelly. Carlos Bonds comes across in 12th. He's going to join the fray. Mac McCormick, 13th. Kurt Isbay crosses for 14th. Eric Russell, 15th. Ralph Salomon, 16th. Bob Lang, 17th.
Yeah, I mean, Stefan did everything he needed to do. He was super consistent. I mean, he was fast, but he was super consistent and didn't make any mistakes. Darren, I mean, there was nothing else he could do as well. It's just a tough track to pass on, and curious to see how the next race goes with maybe the roles reversed.
Well, we invert for the second race. That puts Dave Curtis on pole. Mike Kelly starts in second. Ian Wisbin will start where he finished the last race in third. Darren Treacle in fourth. Stefan Vapa in fifth. Jim Graziano in sixth. Matthew Barber in seventh. John Clark eighth. John Wood ninth. Don LeBire 10th. Rob Hines 11th. Carlos Bonds 12th. Mac McCormick 13th. Kurt Isbay 14th. Eric Russell 15th. Ralph Salomon 16th. Bob Lang 17th.
Ooh, we waste no time getting into this race.
Everyone was in a hurry this time. I like it.
Ian had a little slow start.
Ian has a slow start. Mike Kelly has a run on Dave Curtis.
Darren's sticking his nose in there.
Darren's right there. Darren might come out of this in second. He's in third. Steffen's in fourth. Matthew Barber's in fifth. Ian Wisbin goes way down and has an issue. Darren working on Mike Kelly, not able to execute the pass. Ian Wisbin is in the pits. We'll catch up in a little bit and see what happened to Ian. In the meantime, let's stay with the front.
Oof, they're all jammed together right there.
Dave
Darren's
Curtis
to the
still
inside.
in the lead. Darren working on Mike Kelly, taking the inside line. Seems to give Stefan Vapp a little bit of a run on him, though.
The draft, I'm curious how they're going to end up into turn one here. I think Darren's going to be alongside.
I think Darren's going to have a heck of a run on Mike. Mike's going to have a hard time keeping Darren back. And Darren makes the pass. He's through in the second. Stefan not able to follow.
Stefan jumped up on that curb. I think Darren's going to go for the lead.
Yeah, Darren's going for the lead right here. Making an aggressive move on Dave.
He's got it.
He takes it. And Stefan and Mike.
Now they're side by side for second.
Mike Kelly making a move for second. Falls off a bit. Looks like Stefan's got a little run on Mike. He's going to try to make it work on the outside. That's tough.
Oh, yeah, right front lockup. That's not going to help the situation.
Well, there's not much grip out there. Lots of marbles.
Oh, he's sliding, he's sliding.
Hangs on to it. Darren very quickly puts over a second on Dave Curtis. Stefan making a move on Mike Kelly. Nice pass.
Yeah, Stefan keeps jumping up on that curb, and it's a scary place to be. I think you lose a little speed going up that high because you're scraping the bottom, but once you get over the top of it, it's very easy to get a tire in the grass, and you're not going to bring it back if you do.
So I'm trying to go back here and figure out what happened to Ian. I'm not having much luck actually finding anything.
Ian, just after turn one, had a crash.
Here we go. Here's the start of the race.
Oh, we just went out of picture, and he just got crashed into.
Oh, yeah. I think he and Ralph Salomon came together. Darren building a big lead now.
I've been in this position that Darren's in, and you drive that first race, and you don't have any downforce in the front, and you just feel helpless. And then now he's got this race where he's got it all, and the car feels great, he's got a gap, and it's just like he can do no wrong now. You feel like you have superpowers. Yeah, Darren's last lap was a 15.3, which is one of the faster laps we've seen today. Curious to see if Stefan can get by Dave and whether or not he can eke out a little bit more speed out of that car to run Darren down.
Yeah, Stefan also putting a lap in the 15s.
Stefan's close. He's got a draft.
Stefan with a move on Dave Curtis. Dave keeps his foot in it. Looks like Stefan has a position.
Yeah, not a lot you can do when you're on the outside there. That little dot way in the distance is Darren.
Dave putting down quick laps, but when the person trying to pass you is a second faster, there's really nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, lap traffic kind of in the way there.
They're catching up with Ian. He's back on the track.
Whoa, whoa, Stefan had tire in the grass. Almost ended it.
Ian's working on Jim Graziano.
Yeah, it's a little cluster of cars, isn't it?
Ian makes the pass. Next he'll work on Kurt Uzbey, who is actually a lap ahead of him. Kurt running in the top 5.
Nice job, Kurt. Drag race down turn 1.
Ian sticks his nose in. Oh! Oh no!
Oh boy!
Oh, he magically has a wing again. He might be okay. For a moment there, it looked like he was done. Oh, he must have damage, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like his left rear tire is hanging off. Or at least not where it needs to be.
It's funny how the whole back of the car fell off and then suddenly it was back.
Yeah, Kurt's right front pointed the wrong direction.
Oh no!
He's having such a good run.
What a shame. What a shame for Kurt. That puts Don LeBayer in the top 5. Someone else's pain is his fortune. Nice work, Don.
Yeah, looks like he's got some breathing room. Nobody behind him immediately. He's to put in some clean laps.
Ralph Salomon working on Eric Russell here. Russell being chased by John Clerk.
I think John's a lap down.
He is a lap down. Yeah, I think he was part of that first lap melee.
Yeah.
Eric cleanly running in 7th. Good showing.
Oh, making a position, making a move.
Yeah, no reason for Eric to try to hold him back. This is not for a position. Ralph Salomon, however, is chasing
I was going to say, he
Eric for
can't afford to give up much.
Ralph about a second back of Eric. Closest battle on track here. Darren's got about 3.5 seconds on Stefan and another 3.5 seconds back to Dave Curtis. Let's see what Ralph can do with Eric. 3 laps to go. Boy, this twin race format really does lead to a lot of wheel-to-wheel action.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I think it makes a lot of sense for this group. The endurance races could kind of drag on, you know. I mean, just any kind of 40-minute race like we used to do. They just kind of, you know, the gaps are just going to get bigger. Or here we force them back, and then the invert makes it a little bit interesting at the front.
Fast guys always seem to find a way, though, don't they?
Yeah, that's for sure.
Bob Lang making the move.
Whoa.
Bob up to 8th position now. Oh, and he's starts to work on Eric Russell, and he loses it. Bob, as usual, showing lots of speed, but wasn't able to make it stick. It's quite a bit faster
I
than
felt
these
like
guys.
in the door cars, he was super consistent.
Well, if you remember when we ran the Skippies a few seasons ago, he was just on fire.
Yeah.
Had some race wins and was runner-up to Stefan in the championship.
You know, I've noticed as I run more with the group here, everybody kind of has their own strengths and weaknesses in different cars, and you can't always predict who's going to be good and what, you know. And it's like Darren just kicked everybody's butt in the GTE cars and GT3 cars for that matter, but you know, Stefan was really, really good in the Skip Barber cars, and he's great in these cars as well. Seems like they're a little bit more matched though in these cars. That was close.
Darren is flying. You know, it's been a while since Darren won one of these. I'm sure he's going to try to put a stamp on this one.
Yeah, it's kind of a joke when we ran the GT cars. It's just he was going to be there at the end every single time.
Well, I mean, with the GT cars, with GT3 cars, he was driving a different car every week to just try to win with each car.
Yeah, it was whether or not he put enough fuel in it. Yeah, it's nice to see no clear-cut winner every week. I mean, Stefan's won them all, but I think between the two of them, they probably are very equal.
What's amazing with both of them is the consistency. They're
That's
always
it, checkered
fast.
flag.
Darren Treacle takes race 2. Stefan Vappa, 2nd place. Dave Curtis, 3rd place. Mike Kelly for 4th, doing his usual exciting end to the race. Don LeBire coming around to take 5th. Good show, Don.
Yeah, I feel like he needed a good result. Hey, is that a new ticker we got on top?
Yeah, this is our NASCAR ticker. For some reason, our traditional timing tower went nuts.
Yeah, I like this one. It seems to be a little more fitting of our smaller field. Get everybody's whole name in there and a lap time. Before I forget, I want to wish my son Cole happy birthday. Turned 2 last week. I wasn't here to mention it.
Happy birthday, Cole.
One day when he's old enough, he'll appreciate it.
Maybe he'll be the one racing at that point. Well, we're waiting for official, and we'll see if we can grab some of our drivers and bring them to the booth. We'll be right back. Welcome to the post-race, gentlemen. We have first place in race 2, Darren Treacle. Second place, Stefan Vappa. And third place, Dave Curtis. Stefan also took race 1. Stefan, let's start with you as a race 1 victor. How'd tonight go for you?
Oh, that was great. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I was really sweating it out here. I think we turned, when Darren and I were in clear air, I think we turned every single lap in the 115s, which was better than pretty much every single lap I ran in practice. So, yeah, that was fast and furious, but really clean. And we didn't catch traffic until late in the race, which kept things pretty smooth, and I didn't really give Darren a chance to make a jump at anything or send it or anything like that. Which is always a concern.
well, in race 1, your fast lap times were about 100th of a second apart. It was really incredible, very close.
Yeah, that was all I could do. The track was, this track in general has I think a very slippery surface, so the car moves around a lot, which I'm comfortable with, but it makes it hard to, go offline or attack anywhere. And it's a narrow track, and so passing is very difficult. So I knew that as long as I was turning consistent lap times, it'd be really difficult for him to get by. But I also knew that was going to be the case in race 2, so kind of set myself up for that one.
Well, Darren, did you maintain your promise and turn your first lap in this car at this track during practice tonight?
I did.
You did. So you just sent it.
I just sent it. Tonight. I haven't driven since we all did the 24-hour race on Saturday.
Well, that's very impressive. You and Stefan were right on top of each other all night. It's very entertaining. It's your first race win with VRL in a while. How's it feel to be on top of the podium again?
It feels good. I mean, it's fun making Stefan sweat. I'm not going to deny that. That's like a win in itself almost. But no, it feels good to have a win, especially in this car. The Formula car is not my favorite. I'm not that good in the Formula car, but and Stefan, that's it. This is his bread and butter, so it feels good if I had, obviously in the second race I had help, right? He started behind me. That certainly helps out a lot. So, and he got held up, I got by Mike and Dave, and then he had to deal with him while I kind of pulled out a gap. So, yeah, but it was fun. Even in the first race when I was chasing him around, I was right there with him, and there weren't many opportunities to really send it and stick it in there, It
looked like you had one on the last lap at the end of the straightaway there on the right-hander before the left U-turn. Looked like you were going to stay up to the left and send it in there. I didn't give you a lot of room, but you thought about it.
Well, I do. I've raced this track quite a few times in real life, and that is a passing spot. So if he would have opened up the door just a little bit more, I was going in there.
Yeah, if you slide wide.
I didn't want to take us both out. These cars are pretty fragile, so I didn't really want to risk it with not having a little bit more space,
Yeah, if this was a GT car, would you treated it differently?
I would have probably been a little bit more forceful on the issue.
You got to open a much bigger gap for a GT car, though.
True, but they also take the punishment a little more than these cars, right? So,
yeah, they do. They do.
But there was really the only opportunity I would have had. We ran a different line going around the sweeping right-hand turn. But that would have been risky. There's really, and I couldn't get close enough into turn 1. So that was probably about the best opportunity I had.
I was hoping to see the whole situation with the roles reversed in the second race, but the gap just never got smaller. It was just too much to overcome after you get through the traffic.
Yeah, he was turning consistent mid 115s. So I can't go any faster than that. And once the gap was there at 3.5, I think it stayed at 3.5. And then on the going into the last lap, he requested a flyby from the guys on the front straight, and they okayed that, and I caught them midway through the lap, and there was no place for me to go, so I just let it happen. I had a 5-second gap to work with, but I did watch, because if Dave had gotten close, it would have been pretty sketchy.
So we got a message from Ian Wisbin sending apologies to Kurt Uzbek. Kurt was running in the top 5 when they came together, and Ian has relegated himself to the comfy chair.
Yeah. Kurt put a lot of work into trying to figure this track out, so I'm sure that was a disappointment for him.
Yeah, he had a good performance, so we're very sad to see that. Dave Curtis, you had a great night. You finished 5th in race 1. That put you on pole for race 2, and you came back home on the podium for race 2. Talk us through it.
Yeah, thanks. Overall, a pretty good night. Made some mental mistakes and followed another driver off course in the first race, and I think I ended up mowing grass a couple of times there. So fought my way back, and I came through the last corner to the finish line of the first race and looked, and I was in 5th, and I thought, oh man, now I'm on pole for the second race. So now we'll see how that goes. Haven't done that. The other guys are usually so much faster, so you just jump in and try to hold them off as long as you can. I'm amazed at Stefan's braking ability. I do not comprehend how he can brake so late. I held him to the inside there to turn 1 as long as I could, and I'm like, I'm not going to make it if I don't start slowing down. So kudos to you, and Darren, good win.
Thank you.
You got a heck of a run on me coming out of the fast sweeper there, so there was no holding you back. Good race, nice and clean, and I had a lot of fun being up front there.
Well, you did a great job. It was fun watching you start on pole. You handled yourself quite well. You hung on for a long time. It was quite impressive. And you had a good run with Mike Kelly. I guess Mike ended up a little bit ways behind you by the end of the race, but you had a good battle with him throughout the race.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I mean, the track does tighten up in a few places, but there are some places where you can run close and kind of try to push the issue a little bit, see if someone else will make a mistake, and just put your head down, try to look forward. But it's got to be easier in the real world because you don't have as many overlays and things to look at, and it can be a little.
Well done to all the drivers tonight. Next week we're back at it. Stefan, you're pretty far in the lead right now in the championship, but if Darren can keep these race 2 wins going, it could get a little exciting for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, you can't make any gaps if it's just trading off races, and absolutely. All it takes is a tiny mistake. I haven't been to this track in real life in a long time, and we hadn't been here since we ran the GT3 cars. So I was a little rusty at this track, but we're running right at the ragged edge because it's so competitive that it doesn't take much to make a mistake, and one bad race and he's right back in it.
Well, congratulations to all 3 of you. Great show tonight. We enjoyed it. We'll let you get off to the pub and kick back with one, and maybe you'll find Ian on his comfy chair.
I expect we may.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
Well, Steve, a couple really exciting races tonight. This is the kind of excitement we were hoping these dual sprint race formats would deliver. I think it's headed exactly where we hoped it would.
Yeah, it's super exciting. Great racing front to back. I think the excitement is sometimes too exciting, and we have some contact, but I think that's just the format of it, and we have to deal with it for the we have more good than we do bad, so it just is what it is at this point.
That's right. That's right. Well, thanks for joining me here again. I'm sure everyone enjoys hearing your insights, and I appreciate you saving my voice.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's entertaining.
Absolutely, it is. Well, I'll let you jump into the pub, and I'll wrap up here. Thanks, Steve.
Yep. Good night.
All right, well, I hope you enjoyed tonight's coverage of the Vintage Racer Group's Virtual Racer League. This was our Open Wheel Sprint Series Airfield Classic at New Jersey Motorsports Park. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.